Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the NBA Front Office Show. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I'm Trevor Lane. You can find me on Twitter at Trevor_Lane, on Instagram and Facebook at Trevor Lane NBA. Joined by Keith Smith. Follow him on Twitter at Keith Smith NBA. Keith, oh boy, sound that Simmons siren.
Let's go. We're going to let it run for a minute,
I think we have. This is big news.
No doubt. The dogs do not like it.
The dogs are not a fan of the Simmons siren. Reports coming out that Damian Lillard seizing an opportunity here with a transition of power in Portland in the front office to make it known that he wants Ben Simmons to be his running mate with the Blazers. Keith, that this could be what the 76ers have been waiting for, the moment that breaks this open and ultimately results in a trade.
Yeah, it was. This report came from Shams Charania and Sam Amick of The Athletic. One of the things that they had in there is that Portland players are getting frustrated with the way things are going beyond just Damian Lillard, but Damian Lillard has also expressed that there is need to make further changes to the roster after Neil O'Shea was fired. Well, we don't need to spend a ton of time on it, but O'Shea fired for workplace misconduct. Portland believes that voids his contract. There's some thought he may go after the $20 million remaining owed to him. So we'll see where that story ultimately goes. But with the basketball side of this, Chauncey Billups has in recent days, after they get blasted by the Boston Celtics on the at home, Celtics are on the road, called out the team's heart, effort, like pride, all those things that you don't want to hear, right? The stuff that kind of hits home a little harder. It's not just a sloppy play, poor execution, all that stuff. That's easily fixable. Once you start calling out effort, pride, and heart, that gets a little concerning. So there's a thought that there's a lot of frustration there. And in this is Damian Lillard has expressed an interest that he'd like to play with Ben Simmons in Portland. Let's be clear about that. It was not that he wants to get traded anywhere and play with Simmons anywhere else, even though that's some are dreaming big on that one. And then the other part that was very interesting was their reporting says that when O'Shea was in charge, there was discussions that centered around Ben Simmons for CJ McCollum, a first-round pick and a young player, someone like Nasir Little or Anthony Simons.
Yeah.
But Philly asked, as we had heard reported previously, asked for McCollum and multiple first-round picks and pick swaps in the years between, and that's kind of where talks stalled. So let's see where this goes now. New front office in charge. Maybe there's a little more motivation. Simmons is still a Sixer. I almost said like playing for the Sixers, but we know that's not.
No, that's not happening.
So let's see.
I think that McCollum, Simons, a first, like that's pretty reasonable territory. And then we go to the outlandish, as the 76ers ask for multiple firsts and pick swaps plus a young player plus McCollum, whatever else they're throwing in there, right? So we'll see if a middle ground can be reached there. But I think there's two important takeaways here. Number one is that if this is the case, if Lillard is seizing this opportunity to this transition of power in the front office to make it known what he wants, that means we can rule out now what the 76ers wanted, which is Lillard. Lillard for Simmons, that's not going to happen if Lillard is going to the Blazers saying, I want to play with this guy. So now we refocus onto McCollum for Simmons. And then you got to look at how you can construct this deal, how you can make something like this happen, because now you've got a team in the Blazers that are motivated, or at least have whatever desire they have to make Damian Lillard happy. They are that level of motivated now to go and get Ben Simmons. So can you actually put together a deal that works? And salary-wise, Simmons, McCollum, pretty close. You can probably work out a deal there. You're right there.
That's already the match.
It's a pretty easy fit that way. So, I think this could really have legs. It could come down to, maybe you wait until December 15th, some players become available, something like that. But this feels like probably the closest we've come to finding a franchise that is motivated to go get Ben Simmons, as well as having some pieces that the 76ers might really want. It might make sense on their team alongside Joel Embiid.
Yeah, and I get it from the Philly side as far as then this gives them three small guards and Maxey, McCollum, and Curry. that's something you can sort out. You can figure that out. McCollum's done fine, at least offensively, playing with small guards,
Hmm.
and Philly would have better defensive personnel around him and Maxey in that case. And then Curry just kind of probably goes back to being your bench sniper there. You could maybe work out a further trade and look at something like that if you wanted to move one or two of those guys on somewhere else. So that's why I wouldn't say this is probably imminent. I would say
No.
this is gonna be a while. I think this is more just Damian Lillard looking at and saying, who could we get that's a real difference maker? We can get Simmons. Let me tell everybody, hey, I'd like to at least explore this if that's a possibility and go from there. So yeah, it's gonna be uh something we'll be monitoring. My guess is probably till closer to the deadline. I don't
Hmm.
even think the 15th coming up here next week is going to even be a milestone of any major concern in a Simmons trade. It absolutely, as you called out, frees things up quite a bit more because the vast majority of the players signed over the summer can then be traded. I just don't know that that's going to swing things for Philly all that much. It's not like we're sitting on somebody that they absolutely need to be trade eligible.
Right.
I think this is probably going to be Philly's going to keep waiting and hoping. And does Lillard get so frustrated that Lillard's like, forget it now, I want out too, and then that becomes the trade instead. So let's see where this goes. But yeah, this is going to be fun to monitor now because now we're getting real kind of meat behind this rather than just a whole bunch of speculation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Look, Ben Simmons, not the only international player that wants out with his NBA team. Goran Dragic also apparently
Well done.
would like to. Do you
Good
like that?
segue.
I like
I
that.
like that. I had to interrupt you because that was well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That was a Monday morning segue. I've rested up for the weekend, and now here we are, guns blazing. But Goran Dragic wants to join the Mavericks, which, I mean, this is the team he's been connected to for months now, but he apparently wants out of Toronto and would prefer to go join the Mavs.
Yeah, this has been an interesting story because Dragic, when he was traded, we got the Raptors got him as part of the sign and trade for Kyle Lowry. He was a big part of the salary matching there. He's actually the bulk of the salary match in that trade. And Dragic, if we remember, I believe he was in Slovenia, I think, and was on camera basically saying, yeah, I don't want to go there. I hope I get traded or I get bought out. There were rumors that he was going to be immediately flipped to Dallas. Dallas didn't end up going the cap space route. All these other things happened. But now Dragic has been away from the Raptors now for a little bit with no real end in sight, tending to a personal matter. Now is the personal matter that he doesn't want to be there. Where we're at, we'll see, where this all plays out with that, or maybe we'll never find out the reasoning. But yeah, it sounds like things are maybe progressing towards a buyout. And if there's a buyout that happens, Dallas is likely where he's going to go. And that's, as you said, that's been rumored all along, and I think expected all along.
Yeah, and I think that this is the most likely landing spot for him, and I think that ultimately they figure out a way to get this done, but it just might not be happening tomorrow or anything like that. But the Mavs could use another guard, especially a veteran like Dragic, to come in and do some things for them. So if he winds up somehow getting bought out by the Raptors, then I would expect him to land with the Mavs. In terms of veteran guards, one veteran guard wants out, another one might be wanting to extend his stay. Patrick Beverley, now talking extension with the Wolves. Patrick Beverley, who jumped through multiple teams this last offseason, now has landed in Minnesota and apparently, I mean, a little bit of a rarity, might want to stay there. Actually, stay in Minnesota. The Wolves defense has been much better this season. They do seem to be a team on the rise, and obviously they credit Patrick Beverley for some of that success.
Yeah, I think the Wolves finally found a mix of some players that kind of work, which I think has been missing for them. I think Beverly has come in, both his attitude, his veteran confidence, his push is gonna drive guys to do things the right way. He talked about that quite a bit. And the improvement is real. This is a team that's generally in the bottom 20 in defensive rating. And I want to say, let me make sure I get the number right. They're 8th right now in the NBA. And that's
good.
crazy because let's see where they finished last year, 28th. So bumping up 20 spots. I get it. It's early, all that stuff, but that is huge for them. And then offense, where I think we kind of thought of them as an offensive team for a number of years. They're only 22nd.
Yeah.
So they're clearly doing what they're doing behind their defense right now. And Beverly's been a big part of that. And I think this is one of those extensions that makes some sense. The Wolves are not a team that projects to have cap space anytime in the coming years, just because they've got Towns and Russell under contract. So that's going to make that kind of tough. They also, Anthony Edwards, as the number one pick, is carrying a 10 million plus salary. They re-signed Malik Beasley rather. So this is a good deal. If you can lock Beverly up to a couple years, probably in that 12 million-ish range would be what I think feels fair at this point in his career. That's good work, and you might as well get it done. The one concern, he'll be 34 at the start of next season, but that's so you keep it short term. Keep it at a reasonable number and a movable number if you have to do that. But yeah, Wolves definitely, that was a good acquisition for them in the long run, because they didn't give up anything that they really necessarily wanted to keep.
Well, and from Patrick Beverley's perspective, $14.3 million this season. So let's say he takes a bit of a pay cut, maybe 10 to 12 million, something like that next season, somewhere in that range. Yep. If he falls in there, the benefit to doing this now is you lock in that contract. I mean, we saw what happened with Dennis Schroeder. We know that this next coming off season, there's not a lot of big time free agents out there, but there's also not going to be a ton of spending power either. So if Patrick Beverley has the opportunity to get the deal that he wants done right now, you might as well just take it and not roll the dice waiting to the offseason, because frankly, you're probably not going to get a better offer than what might be on the table here from the Wolves.
Yeah, I completely agree. And as you mentioned, not a great summer to be a free agent, but where there are some pretty good players is at the point guard position. Beverly, Brunson, Campazzo, Dragic, Aaron Holiday is a restricted free agent. Probably Kyrie Irving will be out there, whether they'll look to actually leave Brooklyn or not, who knows. Frank Jackson, who's played kind of well, could be on the market. Tyus Jones, Patty Mills, Ricky Rubio, Tomas Satoransky, Dennis Schroeder, as you mentioned, Colin Sexton. Clearly, I'm going in alphabetical order here versus any other sort order here on this. But yeah, a lot of good players available for sure at the point guard position. And we continue to say it, there's only a limited need because most teams have pretty good point guards in place right now.
Exactly. And that can leave you as the odd man out, and then you don't get the contract that you want. And anyway, you become a cautionary tale. So you want to make sure that if this opportunity is there, if you're Patrick Beverley, you do everything you can to explore it. And I think it would be a great move for him to lock up a deal now. And I also think it would be beneficial to the Wolves as well.
Yeah, completely agree.
All right, guys, we're going to take a little break there. We're going to be back later today. We've got a lot more NBA news to break down, including a massive blow to the Hornets. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot of other things going on around the NBA. So check later today for that video. Make sure you are subscribing right here to the NBA Front Office YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn on those notifications as well. Till then, see ya and stay safe.